Hey, Liam. It's so good to see you again.
Great to see you too, Emma. You look excited today.
I am. I'm finally going to New York next week. I've dreamed about walking through Times Square for years, but there's one thing that's making me secretly nervous.
Let me guess. The fast English?
Exactly. Everyone says New Yorkers speak at lightning speed. I'm afraid I'll understand a textbook, but not a single real person in Manhattan. I really don't want to spend my entire trip just smiling, nodding, and pretending I understood everything.
Emma, I'm going to solve your biggest listening problem in less than a minute.
Really? How?
When people speak fast in a chaotic environment, stop trying to understand every single word. Instead, understand the situation.
The situation? What do you mean by that?
Imagine you walk into a coffee shop. Before anyone even opens their mouth, your brain already knows what's going to happen. Someone will ask what you want, follow up with for here or to go, ask anything else, and finish with cash or card. You don't need to analyze every syllable. You already understand the moment.
Wow, I've never thought about it like that.
That's the big secret. Native speakers don't translate every sentence in their head. They recognize familiar situations.
Wait, I already feel less nervous. I always assumed I was failing if I missed a single word.
That's the biggest myth in language learning. Today, we're walking through Times Square to prove it. By the end of this lesson, you'll see how easy English becomes when you stop chasing words and start recognizing patterns.
I'm ready. So imagine I've just stepped into Times Square. Bright lights flashing, street performers yelling, music blasting, police sirens. Honestly, I'd probably feel completely overwhelmed.
That's totally normal. Now let me test your brain. If you see a long line in front of a famous NYC food cart, what do you think the people in line are talking about?
Probably what food they want to order, or asking how long the wait is.
Exactly. Your brain already understood the context without hearing a word. Let's try another. You're inside a souvenir shop and the cashier smiles at you as you walk up. What questions are you expecting?
Maybe, did you find everything okay? Or do you need a bag for that?
Boom. Notice what you just did. You predicted the conversation before it even started. Your brain doesn't need 100% of the acoustic signal. It looks for patterns and fills in the blanks.
So if someone says something at super speed and I only catch the words card and receipt,
You don't panic. You instantly know you're finishing a transaction. Native speakers do this constantly. If there's background noise or a muffled subway announcement, we don't hear every word either. We use the situation to complete the message.
that is such a huge weight off my shoulders. Whenever I missed one word in the past, I felt like the entire conversation was ruined.
Missing a word doesn't mean missing the message. Most of the meaning is hiding right in front of you in the context.
Okay, I'm gaining confidence. Let's keep walking. What happens when I'm crossing a crowded street and someone quickly says, "Excuse me"?
Most learners panic and think, oh no, what did they ask me? How do I respond? But 99% of the time, they didn't ask you anything. They just want to walk past you. The situation tells you everything. Excuse me in a crowded crosswalk just means, let me get through.
That makes so much sense. I would have stood there trying to translate "excuse me" instead of just stepping to the side.
Exactly. The situation speaks first. The words come second. Stop trying to be a fast translator and start being a better observer.
What about signs? When I visit a new city, I catch myself reading every single billboard, store name, and street sign until my head hurts.
That's because you're trying to translate New York instead of experiencing it. Here's a golden rule. Don't translate signs, recognize them. When you see an exit sign, don't pause to translate it to your native language, just recognize that's the way out. When a door says push, you don't build a sentence, you just push it.
So, fluent readers process information, not isolated vocabulary words.
Exactly. When a clerk says, next please, or a Broadway usher says, you're next, you don't analyze grammar. You just step forward.
Did you always think this way, Liam?
Not at all. The first time I visited Manhattan, I tried to process every announcement, every street performer, and every conversation around me. After 1 hour, I had a massive headache.
I can totally picture that.
Then I noticed something freeing. Local New Yorkers weren't listening to every word either. When a distorted subway announcement came over the speaker, nobody looked confused. They just looked at the tracks because they already knew the train was arriving. The announcement was just confirming what the situation already showed.
That's fascinating. So, what are some everyday street expressions I'll hear in NYC that usually confuse visitors?
Imagine someone bumps into your shoulder, smiles, and says, "My bad."
Years ago, I would have thought, bad what?
Exactly. But in that context, "my bad" simply means, "sorry, my mistake." Or if you buy a coffee and the barista says, "have a good one."
I know that one. They're wishing me a good day.
Right. Not a good one, a good day, afternoon, or evening. The situation fills in the missing noun naturally.
Liam, you mentioned earlier that you discovered a specific trick while standing on a busy corner in Times Square that instantly made English feel slower. What was it?
It happened on my very first afternoon. Taxis were honking, music was playing, hundreds of people were talking, and my brain was frying because I was trying to listen to everything at once.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Then I realized my mistake. English didn't actually sound too fast. My brain was trying to process an entire crowd simultaneously. So I stopped trying to hear the whole street and narrowed my focus to just the one person in front of me. Suddenly, English felt normal again.
Wait, so I don't have to understand the conversations of people walking past me?
Of course not. Think about your native language. When you walk through a crowded shopping mall, are you listening to 50 strangers at once? No, that would be insane.
That is such a relief. So my strategy for Times Square should be
Slow your attention down. Ignore the noise of the city. If you're buying a hot dog, only listen to the person at the food cart. If you're asking for directions, only focus on the officer helping you. Everything else is just ambient sound.
so the more real-life situations I experience, the easier every new interaction becomes?
Exactly. Buying food, checking into a hotel, asking for the restroom, these situations repeat the exact same conversational loops. Your second coffee order in NYC will feel 50% easier than your first, and your third will feel effortless because your brain recognizes the pattern.
What should I do if my first hour in New York feels completely chaotic?
Give your brain grace. The first hour is just your senses adjusting to a high-energy environment. Don't judge your English skills in those first few minutes.
I really needed to hear that. Now, what was that one game-changing habit you promised to share?
Here it is. At the end of any real-life interaction, stop asking yourself, which words didn't I understand? Instead, ask, what situation did I just successfully navigate?
Wow, that completely flips the focus from failure to progress.
Exactly. Instead of stressing over forgotten vocabulary, you store the memory of the experience. The next time you enter that scenario, your brain isn't searching a dictionary, it's recalling a lived moment.
Words need a place to live, and that place is a real-life situation. I am going to remember that for the rest of my life. I feel completely transformed. To everyone watching right now, we'd love to hear from you. If you could spend one day in New York City, where would you go first? Times Square, Central Park, or the Brooklyn Bridge? Drop your answer in the comments below. Drop your answers in the comments.
Here's your challenge this week. Watch a movie for 2 minutes with no subtitles. Don't ask, what words did I miss? Just pause and ask, what's the energy and situation right now?
You'll be amazed at how much your brain actually understands when you stop staring at individual words and start reading human behavior.
Exactly. That single habit breaks the bad psychological loop of over-translating. It trains you to think like a native speaker in real time, building instant mental reflexes instead of textbook hesitation.
That is such a powerful exercise, Liam. But speaking of putting this into practice, my trip to New York isn't just about surviving the streets. After exploring Times Square, an American friend actually invited me to a casual outdoor picnic in Central Park this weekend.
Oh, wow! Central Park! That's a huge step, Emma.
I know, and honestly, I'm feeling a completely new kind of nervous. Navigating a noisy street or buying a coffee is one thing. The interaction is over in 30 seconds. But sitting on a blanket in Central Park for 2 hours with a group of native speakers, that feels like a whole different level of social pressure.
You hit the nail on the head, Emma. Street English is functional, but park English is purely social. Sitting in a circle forces you into open-ended conversations, subtle humor, and fast-paced group dynamics where people talk over each other, laugh at inside jokes, and pass food around.
Exactly. What am I supposed to bring so I don't look rude? How do Americans casually joke around without sounding formal? And most importantly, how do I join a fast conversation without awkwardly interrupting someone?
Those are the exact unwritten rules learners are never taught. Like the 3-second window native speakers use to join a conversation without being rude, or even what snack to bring so things don't get awkward.
Wait, seriously? There's a secret formula for joining group conversations at a picnic? I definitely need to master that before this afternoon.
Absolutely. In our next lesson, we're leaving the chaos of Times Square for Central Park. I'll give you the exact phrases and social codes you need to blend in, make friends, and feel completely relaxed.
I am so excited for this. I don't just want to visit New York anymore. I want to build real connections while I'm there.
That's what true fluency is all about. Don't lose this momentum. Click the video right on your screen right now to join us on the blanket in Central Park and unlock your social fluency.
See you right there in Central Park. Click the screen now and let's bow.
See you in the next lesson. Bye, everyone.